The Chaos Gods are easy to describe badly. Khorne is the angry one, Tzeentch is the magic one.
Nurgle is the disease one, Slaanesh is the pleasure one. That version is not completely useless, but it is way too small. The Chaos Gods are not just four villains with different colors and different armies. They are the biggest things inside the warp, and the warp is the place where emotion, souls, belief, fear, hatred, hope, and obsession become real enough to bite. That means the Chaos Gods are not simply worshipped into power. They are fed by patterns of life. Every war cry, every murder, every desperate prayer, every secret plan, every surrender to despair, every obsession that stops caring who it hurts, all of it echoes into the warp. Over time, those echoes gather.
They become storms, they become hungers, they become gods.
So the simplest answer is this. The Chaos Gods are the galaxy's worst emotional habits, grown so large that they can look back. And once you understand that, chaos stops being just a faction and becomes one of the most frightening ideas in Warhammer 40K.
A Chaos God is a vast psychic power in the warp. It has personality, servants, demons, symbols, sacred numbers, rivalries, and worshippers. But it is also bigger than any ordinary person-shaped god. It is closer to a living storm made from emotion. Khorne does not need every warrior to pray before battle. Bloodshed feeds him anyway. Tzeentch does not need every schemer to carve his symbol into a wall. Ambition, plots, hope, and transformation feed him anyway. Nurgle does not need every plague victim to whisper his name. Despair, decay, endurance, and the comfort of giving up feed him anyway. Slaanesh does not need every addict, artist, tyrant, or perfectionist to understand what is happening. Excess feeds Slaanesh anyway. That is what makes chaos so hard to defeat. You can kill cultists, you can burn temples, you can purge traitor legions. But you cannot simply shoot rage, ambition, despair, or desire. They are part of mortal life. Chaos wins by taking ordinary things and pushing them past every limit. Khorne is the blood god, the lord of skulls, the power of rage, slaughter, martial pride, hatred, vengeance, and direct violence. He is often explained as the god of anger, but that makes him sound too small and too random. Khorne is not just someone losing their temper. Khorne is the moment violence becomes sacred. He is the belief that strength is truth, that mercy is weakness, and that every problem becomes honest once it is answered with an axe. Khorne despises cowardice, manipulation, and sorcery because they feel like evasions of the only truth he respects. Stand up, fight, bleed. Kill or be killed. That is the terrible clarity Khorne offers. That is why Khorne can be tempting even when he is obviously monstrous. In a galaxy full of lies, bureaucracy, hypocrisy, and hidden corruption, Khorne offers an answer that feels clean. No excuses. No schemes, no pretending. Just strength tested against strength. The problem is that the answer never stops demanding more blood. At first, violence is a tool. Then it becomes justice. Then it becomes worship. Then it becomes the only language you still understand. That is Khorne's trap. He does not need to make you subtle. He needs to make you certain. Tzeentch is the changer of ways, the god of sorcery, mutation, schemes, ambition, knowledge, hope, and transformation. People often call him the trickster god, and that is true, but it misses the emotional center. Tzeentch is not only lies. Tzeentch is the part of you that believes the future can be different if you are clever enough. That is what makes him dangerous. Hope is not evil by itself. Ambition is not evil by itself. Wanting change is not evil by itself. But Tzeentch turns those things into an endless maze. Every answer hides another question. Every victory becomes part of a larger plan. Every betrayal can be justified because the future is still being improved, refined, corrected, or unlocked. Tzeentch is the whisper that says you are the one person smart enough to use corruption without being used by it. He is the promise that forbidding knowledge will free you. He is the comfort of believing that if everything is complicated enough, nothing is really your fault. His followers may think they are becoming masters of fate, but the joke is that Tzeentch loves movement more than destination. Change feeds him. Schemes feed him. Even failed plans can feed him if they create more change, more ambition, more fear, and more dependency on the next impossible answer. Tzeentch does not simply trap people by lying. He traps them by making the lie feel like progress. Nurgle is the plague god, the lord of decay, the power of disease, entropy, despair, endurance, stagnation, and the strange comfort of surrender. At first glance, he seems like the easiest chaos god to reject. Who would choose rot? Who would choose sickness? Who would choose a god of filth and decay? The answer is people who have run out of the strength to keep fighting pain. Nurgle is horrifying because he does not only offer disease, he offers acceptance. He offers the end of fear. He offers a horrible kind of family where suffering is no longer something to resist, because resistance itself has become exhausting. In a universe as cruel as Warhammer 40K, that matters. People break. Worlds break. Bodies fail. Hope fails. Nurgle arrives when despair stops feeling like an emergency and starts feeling like home. His followers often become grotesquely joyful because they no longer feel the terror they should feel. Pain is dulled. Horror becomes normal. Decay becomes a gift. That is not kindness. It is surrender wearing a smile. Nurgle's trap is the promise that if you stop resisting, nothing can hurt you anymore. But what he really takes is the part of you that still believed things could be better. Slaanesh is the Dark Prince, the god of excess, obsession, sensation, perfection, pride, indulgence, and hunger without limit. A lot of people reduce Slaanesh to pleasure, but that is only one door into the palace. Slaanesh is not just wanting something.
Slaanesh is wanting something so badly that the wanting becomes your identity. The artist who cannot stop chasing the perfect work. The warrior who needs every duel to feel more exquisite than the last. The ruler who needs admiration to become worship. The addict who needs the next experience to be stronger, stranger, and more consuming. The perfectionist who would rather destroy everyone nearby than accept an ordinary limit. That is Slaanesh. Pleasure is part of it, but so are pride, vanity, obsession, pain, luxury, control, beauty, music, speed, sensation, and the refusal to ever say enough. Slaanesh is frightening because the first step can look like excellence.
Why settle for dullness? Why accept limits? Why be ordinary when the universe can be made sharper, brighter, louder, sweeter, and more intense?
The problem is that Slaanesh turns every peak into a floor. What overwhelmed you yesterday becomes boring tomorrow. What satisfied you once becomes an insult. The appetite grows faster than the person feeding it. Eventually, nothing matters except the next sensation, the next triumph, the next perfection, the next scream. Slaanesh does not only corrupt pleasure. Slaanesh corrupts the ability to stop. The Chaos Gods are all part of chaos, but they are not a team in any stable sense. They fight each other constantly because their hungers do not fit together cleanly. Khorne hates Tzeentch because plots and sorcery feel cowardly next to honest slaughter. Tzeentch hates Nurgle because stagnation is the enemy of change. Nurgle hates Tzeentch because endless change refuses the acceptance that Nurgle offers. Slaanesh offends Khorne because obsession, artistry, and sensation can look like weakness or distraction from pure violence. Every god wants the galaxy to become a shape that feeds them most. Khorne wants endless war. Tzeentch wants endless change. Nurgle wants endless decay. Slaanesh wants endless excess. Those futures cannot all fully win at the same time.
That rivalry is sometimes the only reason chaos does not simply roll over everything. The gods sabotage each other. Their followers betray each other.
Their demons clash, even when they are technically invading the same reality. Chaos is powerful, but it is also hungry in 4 different directions.
The hardest part of fighting the chaos gods is that they are not only outside you, they are connected to things inside mortal life. Khorne grows where violence becomes the answer.
Tzeentch grows where ambition cannot stop justifying itself. Nurgle grows where despair becomes home. Slaanesh grows where desire refuses limits.
That means chaos is not defeated just by winning battles. You can push back an invasion and still feed the emotions that made the invasion possible. You can kill a cult and still leave behind fear, hatred, misery, pride, and obsession. You can build an empire so cruel that its own survival keeps seasoning the warp for the things that hate it. That is the grim joke at the center of Warhammer 40K. The Imperium fights chaos, but the Imperium also produces exactly the kind of suffering, repression, war, desperation, and fanaticism that chaos knows how to use.
This does not mean chaos is secretly good. It means chaos is parasitic. It takes real pain and offers false answers. Rage becomes Khorne. Hope becomes Tzeentch. Despair becomes Nurgle. Desire becomes Slaanesh. And each god says the same thing in a different voice. Give me more, and I will make the pain mean something. So if you want the quick map, here it is. Khorne is not just anger. He is violence turned into truth. Tzeentch is not just magic. He is ambition and hope turned into an endless scheme. Nurgle is not just disease. He is despair turned into comfort. Slaanesh is not just pleasure. Slaanesh is desire without an off switch.
Together, they are the 4 greatest powers of chaos, and they explain why the warp is so dangerous. They are not random monsters waiting in the dark. They are the dark answering back.
They are what happens when the galaxy's worst feelings become ancient, hungry, and divine. That is why chaos in Warhammer 40K is not just evil armor and demonic swords. It is a warning that every mortal weakness can become cosmic if the universe is broken enough.
Thank you for joining Lore Heretic in the archives tonight. If this little expedition into grimdark lore earned its candlelight, subscribe, pull up a chair, and I will see you in the next one.